Hey guys, Josh and Chris here with another convention spotlight. This time we're sitting down with Steve Powell. He is a current runner of the Soda City Comic Con, and we're very excited to say that the first ever Coastal Comic Con in Wilmington, North Carolina is going to be happening on March the 2nd and the 3rd. So, really, really soon. So, Steve, you want to kind of tell us a little bit about Coastal Comic Con?
Sure, absolutely. Well, to give you just a little background, Chris, I'm from the Cape Fear region originally. So this is my home area. This is where I was born and raised in the Cape Fear. Moved away back in the mid 2000s, moved back about 5 years ago, and I was surprised to see that there wasn't a bigger, more established con in the Wilmington market. And granted, there's some other shows that are here, and they do a great job, but they're typically smaller one-day shows. And since the Wilmington market is growing by leaps and bounds with all the people that are moving here, I was surprised that nobody had come basically come to the table with a 2-day show. So my experience, of course, was running Soda City Comic Con in Columbia, South Carolina, a show we started from scratch back in 2015. And, I wanted to bring, the kind of the tried true success of what we did in South Carolina to the Cape Fear region, because there's a massive fan base of people here that I think are willing and ready to support a 2-day Comic Con. So to kind of give you a little more, a little background on what should see at our show this year. We're going to have, the exhibit hall is basically sold out with artists and vendors. Close to 100 artists and vendors in total will be there. We've got a retro arcade, which will take up the entire junior ballroom, which is about 2,300 square feet. So there'll be some retro games in there, like a 6-player Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, or 6-player classic X-Men, or Halo 2, where you can play multiple players at once on the big screen. So it kind of gives you that community kind of atmosphere with gaming. We're also something brand new that we've never done even in South Carolina that we're bringing here is a virtual reality room. We're going to have a variety of virtual reality headsets that are going to be set up anywhere from 8 to 12 stations in one of the salons of the ballroom. So anybody who comes can come in there and put on some brand new Oculus 2, Oculus 3s, and play a variety of different virtual reality games. So that's something brand new that we're bringing this year that we've never done anywhere before. And then, of course, our celebrity guests. We're going to have Michael Bean and Jennifer Bean. Of course, most people know Michael from if you look at his IMDb list, it's pretty impressive. He started some of the biggest franchises of the 80s and 90s. He was Kyle Reese in the original Terminator opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was Corporal Hicks in Aliens, which is one of my personal favorites. And what most people recognize him for is Johnny Ringo from Tombstone, opposite Val Kilmer. And that's just a couple of short credits he's got. He's been in a variety of other things, Navy SEALs, The Abyss. He was also in The Mandalorian, season 2, I believe it was, in the episode where Ahsoka shows up. So if you look at his properties, he's in some of the biggest sci-fi and action movies in the last 30 years. His wife, Jennifer, she's been in multiple TV shows throughout her career. She was in Saved by the Bell. She was in Dark Angel. She's appeared in Supernatural and a variety of other projects. She's been in film and television for close to 30 years as well. On top of that, we've got Billy West, who, if you know anything about voice acting, Billy's probably one of the most renowned voice actors that consistently works. Just Futurama alone, based off of all the characters that he voices, is huge. He's the voice of Fry, who's Philip J. Fry, the main character of Futurama. He's the voice of Zap Brannigan, Farnsworth, Dr. Zoidberg, Richard Nixon's head, a variety of other characters in just Futurama, and not even talking about his voice work on Ren and Stimpy. He was the voice of Doug from Nickelodeon. He was the voice of Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd from Space Jam. Currently he's the voice of the Red Peanut M&M and all the M&M commercials.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah. So, and that's just the top of his list. He's got so many other voice acting credits. It's out of this world. And then of course we have our anime voice actors. We've got Sonny Strait, who is of course the voice of Krillin from Dragon Ball Z. He's also the voice of President Mike, My Hero Academia. He was also, and I forget the character's name. He's the professor or teacher in Assassination Classroom, but he's got a pretty impressive IMDb list of anime voice acting credits. We've got Leah Clark, who's her most famous character is Toga from My Hero Academia. If you're familiar with that show, one of the main villains, which is also a crowd favorite. And then Sonny, I think I already mentioned Sonny, but David Matranga. David Matranga is also the voice of Shoto Todoroki from My Hero Academia, amongst other voiceover credits. So that's our celebrity lineup for this year, our initial year. And we'll also have celebrity panels. And so there'll also be panels that will be something that participants could participate in. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, kind of what the show format is going to look like. We'll also have a kids cosplay contest on Sunday. That starts at, I believe, 4 o'clock. Registration opens up on Saturday from 12 noon to 2 o'clock on Sunday. Actually, our sponsor for that is Leland Chick-fil-A Town Center here in Brunswick County is the sponsor of the kids cosplay contest. So a big shout out to them. So we've got a lot of prizes, up close to, $500-800 in prizes for the kids who enter the cosplay contest. So
that's awesome. Awesome. And I just finished reading volume 1 of My Hero Academia. I've never read any manga, so this was my first one. So I'm going to be watching the first couple of episodes of the show this weekend so I can get some ideas about who these guys are.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, My Hero is one of those shows because I'm not traditionally a big anime fan. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so for me, my childhood was Masters of the Universe, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Voltron. But today's youth, the kids that are growing up today, that's their properties are like One Piece, My Hero Academia. I'm trying to think of a couple others, but some of the other
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer, Dragon Ball Z. Those are now getting to the close to being billion-dollar franchises. They're getting their live action treatments now. My Hero Academia is one that my kids got me into because as you're a show promoter, when you're looking to book guests, you kind of have to get a feel for who they are, what characters that the fans want you to bring in. So, begrudgingly, I started to dip my toes into anime a little bit more. And My Hero Academia is one of those shows that is surprisingly very well written. It's got a great cast of characters. It has a lot of drama. There's the animation is fantastic. Of course, it has that anime feel to it, but there's a lot of good storytelling in there. I love I think it was season 3 or season 4, where they just focused a lot more on the villains. I mean, they gave a lot more. I think it was called My Villain Academia was what they referred to that season as. Nice. But what they really did a good job is giving a background, a lot of the characters like Toga, and Mr. Compress, Dobby, he's like the fire guy, but has the fire. And then Shigaraki, who's one of my personal favorites, voiced by Eric Vale, who's the kind of the leader of the villains, who has the ability to rot with his touch. But he has to hit you with all 5 fingers. He can touch you with 2, but it doesn't do anything. He's got to hit you with all 5. Just great storytelling and character development, and to the point you're like, after watching a couple episodes, it's like, dang it, I'm already hooked. So such good stuff. So, but I think that's kind of where things are going. Anime is becoming such a bigger part of shows now, because I think you've had other show promoters on your channel before, and all shows have a little bit different flair and different things they bring to the table. You have some comic-centric shows. You've got some more horror-based, some anime-based. I would say we're more of a general pop culture show. So that's kind of our kind of blueprint that we put, because we try to bring something to the table for everybody. If you're a family of 4 or 5, I try to have something there for mom, dad, the son, daughter. So that way everybody gets something of value, because guess what, guys? We're all a fan of something.
Yes.
That's kind of been our internal model. Our motto is we're all a fan of something. Doesn't matter what it is. We all are a fan of something. So, and I think the good thing about shows and pop culture is it brings people together from different walks of life. Doesn't matter if you're male, female, conservative, liberal, whatever. All that stuff fades away because anybody can talk about Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. It doesn't matter where you come from. That's something that actually unites people, connects people in ways that other things couldn't.
Yes, I agree. Definitely.
Yes.
And it's really, you hit the nail on the head. When you get to these conventions, it's all about family. We're all family, we're all hanging out, we're all having a good time. We've made so many good friends coming to the conventions and going to these different places. It's just a lot of fun and learning about new stuff. Like you mentioned the My Hero, my kids have been trying to get me to read anime for years in middle school, but I'm just a classic comic guy. I got My Hero Academia Volume 1 for Christmas, and I absolutely loved it. So when I was in the mall this weekend, I picked up Volume 2 because I'm excited to read the next chapter, see what happens.
Yeah. And for me, I was introduced for some of those characters through like the collectible side, like the pop figures like you have behind you. I remember going to like, when I was trying to get more of the, Marvel related pop characters like the Fantastic Four a couple of years ago. I remember people lining up out the door trying to get the first Dobby or the first of these anime characters. I'm like, I don't understand it. What's the big deal? Because I didn't know anything about those shows and those storylines. But now I get it. It's a big deal. Yeah.
I mean, I was in the mall this weekend when I picked up that copy of 2. I went in GameStop and they had an Izuki Miyadori, and he was about this big, but he's a lamp. And you flip a little switch on his bottom and his neck lights up. He's sitting at the desk at work now.
It's amazing because you can go pretty much anywhere and you're more likely to see an anime t-shirt or hoodie either on kids and even some situations adults now than you are some of the main Marvel stuff.
Yep.
Just because of how much it unifies generations.
Yep.
If you look at, going back to the stuff the 80s I referenced like G.I. Joe, Transformers, and He-Man, I think in my personal opinion, the best one that's multi-generational at this point is Transformers.
Yeah.
And they've done that by the original cartoon, but now they've had the movies going on for the last 15, 20 years. And it's something that a father can take his son to the movie and say, hey, that's Megatron, that's Optimus Prime, and they can connect over that childhood bond. One Piece has been going around for, God, I mean, that's got what, 24 seasons, 30 some seasons at this point. I think that's going to be one of those next multi-generational properties that just, Star Wars, another classic example, multi-generation, been around for 40 years. So it connects generations in fandom.
Yeah. And I think you would agree because you've been running the Soda City since 2015, and Josh and I we've been doing cons for probably almost 2 years now since we started. I would say 75% of the cosplayers we see are anime and manga style cosplayers. You see so many of them,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get a lot of Avatar. You get a lot of, and I always mispronounce this. I can't remember if it's Naruto or Naruto. You get a lot of that. Tons. You'll get a lot of girls dressed up like Toga, which is why Leah Clark coming is a big deal. You'll see a lot of girls dressed up like Toga. No matter whatever show I go to, you always see at least 2 or 3 Togas. Then now, Demon Slayer is starting to really, like Nezuko is starting to really become a very popular cosplay that I see a lot of. But it's just, you're right. A majority of the younger base, they all cosplay anime.
Yeah, and it's
and I know I saw today, and we shared it on our channel. You released a list today of all of the different panels that were going to be happening on Saturday and Sunday. So, Josh, we'll try to throw them up here so people can look at them while this is going on, and we'll direct people. to go follow Coastal Comic-Con on Facebook and make sure you don't miss all of these great panels that are happening as well.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, who've never been to a panel, what I really enjoy about the panels is, because when you get in the line, you meet somebody, whether it be an autograph or a selfie, you get a small window of time to really connect. Now, granted, some guests do a better job than others, but when you go to a panel, there's a lot more information that comes out from that person, that celebrity guest's point of view. You get a little bit more details on their work, on some of the things that shape their lives. I remember some fantastic panels. We had one back in 2019 where we actually had the Batman animated series cast come back for one panel. We had Kevin Conroy. We had I'm drawing Adrienne Barbeau. We had what is her name? She's the voice of Poison Ivy. I forget her name, but she was there. We had John Glover, who's the voice of the Riddler. And they were just talking about, back in the 90s, voicing that show. And just some of when they were, reading it, Kevin was talking about how he played the character and how he's like, it's not Bruce Wayne pretending to be Batman. It's Batman pretending to be Bruce Wayne. He said, that guy is Batman. He's not Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is the mask. He says, that's the way I read the character. So just little insights and stuff like that that you don't typically get, sometimes when you're sitting at, when you're meeting them across the table, because it's hard for somebody to engage for a long amount of time if you've got a line of 50 people behind you.
Right.
So
absolutely,
that's why I highly recommend the panels.
That's amazing. That's it's always fun to get in there and get that insight. And sometimes, you never know if you might get some insider information about something new coming that you didn't know about.
Yeah. I won't mention who, but we had a guest one time that was in a Star Wars property, a very, very big Star Wars property. And the individual, I mean, they didn't say anything specifically because they have non-disclosures. So I'm going to make that apparent. But the way they've worded their responses to our answers were like, okay, this character is probably going to be coming back next season. And there was a lot of question about, is this character, it was a fan favorite character, is it coming back? So they can't say, yes, I'm coming back. It's like, I don't know. But the person was late getting to our show, had to come in a day. She came in, the person came in a flight later because they were off shooting for an undisclosed property, which turned out to be Star Wars related. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's very cool.
Yes.
So again, we're saying, let's go ahead and remind everybody. I like to keep reminding them. Saturday, March the 2nd and Sunday, March the 3rd. What time can people get into the show on Saturday and Sunday?
The doors on Saturday open at 10 o'clock. The show hours are from 10 to 6 on Saturday, and from Sunday, they're 11 to 5. So I would suggest getting there early. But we open the doors open at 10 o'clock, and if we get, depending on the weather, if the weather is colder or rainy or whatever, we'll try to scan tickets from people that are already in line ahead of time, and maybe have the lines wait on the interior until we are allowed to open the exhibit hall doors at 10 o'clock. So we always try to take fan experience into consideration, especially in South Carolina where it can get brutal in August, so heat wise. So the last thing I want somebody to do is wait outside for an hour if you're in like a three-piece cosplay outfit. So
Yeah.
And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the price for the tickets. We'll go ahead and talk about those as well, and where we can get those as well.
Sure. Ticket prices, the 2-day price is $30. So for $30, you get in for 2 days. Saturday is $5. If you're only going to go for Saturday, is $25. And then Sunday is $15. And then for kids 6 to 12 is $5. Kids 6 and under are for free with an adult. Of course, you don't let kids in 6 and under unsupervised. So as long as they have an adult with them, if they're 6 and under, they get in for free. You can get tickets at coastalcomiccon.com, or you can get them at the door the day of the show. So you can buy at the door or you can purchase online.
And we'll throw those links up on the screen and in the description of this video as well for you guys so you can get to it.
Josh, can you think of anything else we need to talk about? Or
I think we've covered it. I mean, over 100 vendors. I'm sure that means we've got crafts people, we've got artists, we've got local comic or independent comic writers and artists there.
Correct, correct. And we've got vendors coming from Pennsylvania, Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee. We've got one vendor who makes custom lightsabers, and he's got a massive lightsaber display where you can buy any Star Wars character you think of. If they had a lightsaber, he sells it. We have a variety of different vendors that have never even been to Wilmington before in the period. So what we try to do is bring a pretty good selection. So there's a little something for everybody.
Awesome. Awesome. And this is not going to be good for us, Chris, because this one we're walking around. We tend to spend money when we're not sitting behind a table.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're gonna have to put a chastity belt on our wallet so we don't owe it.
Yes. Lockdown.
So go ahead, guys.
Yeah,
What do you say?
So we got to lock down the budget for the weekend.
yeah, cool.
So-
Awesome.
And this is just year one, guys. I was going to say this is just year one.
absolutely.
So, our plan next year is to take the entire convention center. Because we've already taken the entire exhibit hall, we've taken the entire junior ballroom, and we've taken half of the ballroom. So next year, our plan is to take the entire building and grow this event to where we think it can be to easily a 10,000 person event. So, and our plan is to use the same formula of success that we saw in South Carolina and bring it to Wilmington, North Carolina, because we believe the fans of the Cape Fear region deserve, a 2-day show, and to bring celebrity guests and attractions and things so everybody can get to experience what, the kind of show that we run, kind of what it looks and feels like.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
one
awesome.
last thing that I just thought about it. Are there food trucks?
There are not food trucks, but there will be concessions inside the building. The convention center will have concessions. So they have a select menu of food that you can typically get somewhere between like chicken fingers, hot dogs, hamburgers, fries, drinks, all of that. So they'll have concessions inside. So there will be food on site. So if you want to stay for 8-9 hours, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to stay all day.
I want to know. I know everybody gets hungry about halfway through, so they want to know where they can eat. That works for me.
Well, the other great thing is if concessions food is not your cup of tea, downtown Wilmington has a massive selection of some great lunch spots within walking distance. I mean, we're right, the convention center is right there across from the marina. You got Marina Grill, you got Eagles Dare, you've got Front Street Brewery. There's a variety of sandwich shops and places that are within walking distance. So you can walk around, refresh, get you something to eat, and come right back in. And once you get your badge or your wristband, you can come right back in, just go through security again. You're back in the show.
Awesome. Awesome.
That is awesome.
Get everybody excited. We're excited. We can't wait to be here and see and meet all the people. Get to meet you and hopefully come find.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate
Looking
you.
forward to meeting you both. Yeah, absolutely. So it's gonna be a great first year. We're super excited. The response has been outstanding from vendors and artists and attendees, and we're getting calls every single day about the event. So we're expecting a lot of people from the Cape Fear to show up.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to rest up this weekend because we don't have any shows. I'm all ready for next weekend.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well,
Yep. All right. Well, I think we're good there. Again, let me go ahead and say not this coming weekend, but next weekend, March the 2nd and the 3rd at the Wilmington Convention Center. It's downtown Wilmington. Beautiful downtown Wilmington, I would say. You got a great view of the river there and everything. It's just a gorgeous downtown and a great place to have a convention. A lot of great guests, a lot of great vendors. We're looking forward to it, and we can be prepared to come down to Wilmington and do this show. And we thank you so much for being up here with us, Steve.
I appreciate it, Chris, and thank you, Josh. I appreciate it as well.
Not a problem, man. Have a good one.
You guys have a great evening.
You
Thanks.
too. All right.
Have a great evening. Yep.